Oh, yeah, got it.
She wants to hold it.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh, yeah.
New glasses, new glasses?
Anybody got your glasses? All right.
I am thankful to be here tonight, and I don't know why I'm so nervous. I don't even need this job. I'm thankful to be here tonight, guys, and I get nervous every time I'm about to get up and talk to anybody because I'm very backward and I'm already nervous. Y'all are too quiet.
You got this.
Any chance I get to share my story, I want to jump on it every time, no matter how nervous I get, because I know what it's like to feel hopeless. And I've got a story to share. It's not extravagant. It's not a big, crazy story, traumatic. I didn't go through any trauma when I was little that caused me to do drugs. I just made a bad choice. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story to you guys, and I hope that maybe it helps somebody. But my addiction, it started about 8 years ago, and I had a good life. Life was going good. My 2 boys, I was married, and I had no reason to want to throw my life away. I was just busy, and I needed some energy, some motivation, to get some projects done. You know, been there. But that one decision would lead to 8 years of destruction to my life. And the first thing it did was destroy my marriage, it tore my family apart, and I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so nervous. The drugs tore my family apart. I got arrested finally. I had been hiding it really well, I thought, from my husband while he was working. And I get home and pretend I was sleeping, And you got a phone call one night from the police telling them that I was being arrested for possession. And that's where everything started. I went to jail for the first time in my life. Never been arrested for anything, never been in trouble. I was in church. Everyone's mouth hit the floor pretty much when I got arrested. It was like, Mary's in jail, no way. And I expected my family to get me out immediately because, everyone messes up. And I see it all around me. I've got family all around me that all of them get on drugs, all of them get bailed out, and they get, everyone runs to the rescue, and I expected the same. But no one came to get me out. So I was mad. I was like, I made one mistake and no one wants to come help me. But my drug dealer came and got me out the next day. So I thought immediately they cared more about me than my family did. So that was the beginning of the lies that addiction, tells you. And I spiraled into my addiction, just hardcore. I didn't care at that point anymore what people thought. And I just thought that I was protecting my kids from everything. They didn't see me do drugs, so I thought that, I was fine. I didn't have a problem. Everyone else had a problem. And little did I know that they were seeing more than I thought they were. And anyway, I went through about a year of active addiction, and with an attempt to try to save my family after I'd already destroyed it, but I was gonna go to rehab in Dallas and try to get some help, but it wasn't for me, in my thinking. It was for everybody else to get off my back, leave me alone, and maybe this would shut everybody up for a while. And I went, and I was there for almost 60 days before my health declined, and I had septic bowel obstruction that,
You don't need it anyway.
Anyway, I got very, very sick while I was there, and my family got a phone call that they wanted to see me alive one more time before they had just done 4 surgeries on me to try to save me. I had 20 feet of my intestine had to be removed. Everything was just dying, and my mom had to get that phone call that I wasn't going to make it, most likely. I mean, there's no way someone can live on 3 or 4 feet of, intestine. So they had 5 hours to be there. They wanted to see me one more time. And they all got there and gathered around my bed to say their goodbyes because in reality that it just wasn't, imminent death was expected. That's what the doctor said to my mom. It was just not likely. So just prepare. And everyone prayed, and they went to do that surgery the next day, and they didn't have to do any surgery. It was a miracle. I absolutely should not have made it through that surgery. And it was a long recovery, and you would think that would have been my wake-up call. I should have died, I should be dead, but I'm here, and it wasn't at all. I still didn't think I had a problem. I did it for a while because I had to go straight to drug court. Right out of being in the hospital for 2 months, I had to go through drug court for 14 months, and they sent me to the drug prison. It's prison now. It's where I went to prison, but it used to be a drug rehab prison. And I went straight out of the hospital to drug court and had to go straight to a facility like that away from my family after them almost losing me. And I did great. Finished with flying colors. I did 14 months, no problem. Did no drugs. And the day I graduated, I left that courthouse and went straight to the dope dealer's house because I didn't have a problem. Everyone else had a problem. I was going to do better this time, and I was going to pick better friends. It was always everyone else's fault that everything happened to me. But I went to the dope dealer's house with the intentions at first to tell him, I can still be your friend and hang out with you. I can't do drugs anymore because, I'm a miracle. God saved my life. I was stupid to do that. And literally, as soon as he opened that door, my mind went from, I'm not doing drugs, to, do you have any? And still didn't think I had a problem. But I went deep. And one thing after another started falling apart in my life. I lost my home. I got into a couple of very toxic relationships. About 5 years in my addiction, I was very, very much about my drugs and my man. You know how that goes. And I got beat up all the time. I couldn't do anything right, but I put it before my children, and I put it before my family, and acted like it was normal. Still thought I was protecting my kids, but I was telling my kids, they're seeing their mother get hurt, and I'm telling them, don't call the police, don't, I'll handle it, it's okay, it's not a big deal. And but till later, way later, I realized how damaging it was for my kids to have to see their mom getting beat up on a regular basis, and me acting like it was normal, and getting on to them for, wanting to protect their mom. And so eventually, they didn't have to do it with family, they stayed with family, but I became homeless. I lived on the streets and by the river in freezing cold weather in bad relationships. I witnessed overdose. I had to walk my brother through doing CPR on someone at one time. Didn't know what I was doing, but trying to save someone's life. And they did. They survived, but they were doing drugs later on that night. And then I just recently heard that they were found dead at their home last month, probably from drugs or alcohol. And it was a never-ending cycle. It was my normal. It became normal, but I still got mad when someone said I had a problem or said that I wasn't taking care of my kids or because in my mind I was like, they're not seeing this. You're all crazy. I can control myself. I'm doing fine. But addiction doesn't work like that. Addiction makes us think that it's all going to be easy. Oh, it's no big deal, And I was just getting deeper and deeper and drifting further and further away from my family. And I really was never seeing it until I finally got in trouble again and got sentenced to prison last year. And I was kicked the world because, I blamed everybody else. It was their fault. I shouldn't have been having to pay the price for their mistake. Even though I was doing the drugs with them, it was their fault, But I did. I had to go to prison in July of last year. And while I was there, I finally had to make myself sit down and really think about where I was. And when I started this stuff, my kids were 8 and 12 years old. And now my son was graduating high school, and my other boy was going into high school. And their lives had just flown by, and I missed everything. And I was devastated. My son, having to tell him I was going to prison was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And but I went and I decided that I was going to try to do this thing, because even though I didn't have a problem, I was realizing that it wasn't working. It wasn't working for me, and I wanted to do something different. And I was going to try to work this program. I wasn't going to, they say when you go to do time, don't let the time do you. I don't know how that goes, but I was going to do my program and try to get help. And I was finally starting to realize that my life had become unmanageable and I couldn't do it anymore by myself. And in the midst of that, finally starting to see that, I got a phone call that my dad was diagnosed with leukemia, and he had 3 months to live, and I still had 6 months to go. And I was like, okay, I'm doing good, so they should let me go home and spend time with my family. Surely God's not going to let me go through this, because I'm doing good. You think when you're doing good, it should always be handed to you, and it didn't happen like that. I had to deal with the circumstances. I had to deal with the consequences of my actions, and I had to do all my grieving and saying goodbye and everything over the phone. And I had to watch my dad's funeral from a Zoom call, and watch my family walk down that aisle without me, and my kids be consoled by everyone else but their mom, while I was in prison paying the consequences for my selfishness. The drugs just, it makes you not care. It makes you absolutely think that everything is normal, and it's just not. And I decided in that moment that I did not want to live like that anymore. I remember going through a night, after being super sick and then going back to drugs, after my near-death experience. Some of you have seen me go through it. These over here have all seen me, literally dying. But I would keep on smoking that dope. And I literally one night sat up and was miserable doing drugs, and I was going to write a letter to my kids and to my mom and my dad and tell them that I was sorry. I was not wanting to end my life, but I knew it was going to be the death of me. And I decided that at least I could write them a letter give them a proper goodbye, because I knew that this is what I was probably going to die in my sleep, something was going to happen, and I couldn't stop. It was my life. I had to have it. And life went on, kept on doing drugs, kept on doing what I was doing, but then I was in prison and going through watching my dad die. My dad was so proud of me, y'all. He was so proud of me. Before he died, he got to see me. I know that he got to see that I really, really, truly wanted to change my life. That I wanted to live, and I couldn't wait to get me home. And so for that, I'm thankful. But when I left, I decided I wanted to live my life. I didn't want to be miserable anymore. I wanted to be a part of my family. I missed my family. My dad's gone, but he's up there watching, and I wanted to make him proud because, that's what he wanted. That was when he was dying. My sister told me that it was a little frustrating for all of them because, here I am sitting in prison for being ignorant. They're all standing by his side, and he was constantly concerned whether or not they had talked to me that day. Have you talked to Mary? Have you talked to Mary? So I know that I was such a burden on so many and broke so many hearts, and I was done. So when I got out, that was my intention. I was like, I'm changing my life. This is it for me. And I did. I got out and I was doing great. And but I realized real quick that we got to stay on top of our relationship with God, stay on these meetings. These meetings are what keep me where I'm at. Because at first, I almost destroyed my life. About one doubt that was put on me. My mom doubted me. I was going to a meeting one night. It didn't work out. The plans changed. And she assumed because I was going to go somewhere else, so I must be going to use. And I was mad. I was like, I've been trying so hard, doing great. We've been through so much. She should not question me. So I was going to get high just to prove a point. And that addiction just kind of creeped back in after I already accomplished so much. And I called up Sprint, and that was the goal. And I hung around the wrong people for a little bit, driving 100 miles an hour down the interstate, headed to my drug class at the PO office, and get pulled over, and car full of felons. We all have to get out. 2 of them have drugs on them, and I'm sitting there bawling, freaking out. I'm doing great, fully, again, it's their fault. It's not my fault. You know what I mean? And we all get handcuffed, and we're all headed to jail. And by the grace of God, everyone gets their own individual charges, which that never happens anymore. Everyone goes. God allowed me to not be arrested that day. They uncuffed me at the door and let me leave. And that does not happen. I would be back in prison right now if I had went to jail. And that was my wake up call. Ever since that day, I have had no desire to go back to that life at all. I've grown so much. This is my life. When we don't have meetings, which we have them all the time, but I'm saying if something's canceled, I'm spazzing out. So I'm like, I gotta have it. That's my fix. I gotta have it. But this life has changed me completely. My addiction has changed. It's not about getting high on drugs anymore. It's about helping people. And I'm eventually going to overcome this fear of standing in front of people and being nervous because, I remember a time that I had nobody. I just needed one person to listen to me. And if I can help just one person realize that they're not hopeless, their life does matter, then it'll be worth every bit of it. So I'm just thankful to be here tonight. I'm thankful to be alive. I shouldn't be alive. God kept me here for some he's gonna use me to help somebody. And I love you guys. Thank y'all for letting me share.
Aww.